Really simple, really easy running sinker with a bean sinker. Back again in the garage for another rig rundown. These have been going pretty well, and I had one person write to me asking about running sinker, and one person is enough for me to do a video, because if it's helping out at least one person, that is all that I need. Going to be doing running sinker two different ways. The first one is the easiest way, the easiest rig possible that you can do while surf or rock fishing. All you're going to need for this one is a swivel, a hook, preferably an octopus hook, Lumo bead, that is optional, but I prefer to put one on with this method, and a bean sinker. Now, all of this are all quite big sizes. This is obviously for what size fish you're going to be going after. If you're going after a whiting, then you're going to need some smaller bean sinkers, smaller hooks, smaller line, and smaller swivels. I'll be using 100-pound leader today because that's the easiest thing to show you with. Attach that straight away with a uni knot to my swivel. I've had some really good feedback lately from the rig videos, so if you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to hit that like button. I'd love to be able to see 100 likes on every single one of my rig videos, and I'm really enjoying the feedback as well. A couple of people have told me that they've sat down and put together a couple of rigs from the Paternoster rig that I put up, which I'll drop in now above so you can see it. Always wet your line when you're using mono, fluoro. The knots get hot when you pull them down, so you want to wet it before you pull it really tight. And then onto that, you want to chuck your bean sinker first. That swivel is where more of your line or your braid is going to attach to. I just attach my braid straight to that, that's plenty of line. Then your Lumo bead, and then a uni knot onto your hook. Obviously, tag ends, go back in your car, bucket, boat, whatever, not in the sea. And that's it, simple as that. Running sinker rig, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera how high that is, but that's the idea of it, is that the sinker can run up and down that line. It will really need to hit back up against that side, but that's the idea of the Lumo bead. It just takes a bit of the weight hitting down towards the hook, and it also keeps it away from the fish's mouth a little bit. Now, I don't like this rig as much as the next one that I'm going to show you, but again, it definitely works. Thousands, if not millions of people use this rig, and it's the first rig that I used to use off the beach because it's just so easy. You can put one of these together in a minute. Once you've got your knots down, you've only got to tie 2 knots and you've got yourself a rig. Really simple, really easy running sinker with a bean sinker. This second way is my much preferred way of doing it, and something that I use regularly off the beach as well as the Paternoster rig. All you're going to need for this one, your chosen leader size, a sliding sinker clip, sinker, this is a 6-ounce star sinker, 2 Lumo beads this time, 2 swivels, and a hook. So as you can see, there's already a lot more knots going on with this one, but it's a lot better rig to be tying if you're fishing from the beach. To start off, grab yourself about 1.5 meters of line and tie on one of your swivels. Won't ever fail. Onto that, your first Lumo bead, then your running sinker clip, and then your second Lumo bead. And that's your rig at the minute. So onto that clip, you can chuck your star sinker. Now it's completely up to you as well, dependent on what sort of beach you're fishing. If you know that there's a lot of snags, then put a bit of sacrificial leader onto that. So as this is being 100-pound leader, I'd put a 30-pound leader onto that sinker. And then if you do get snagged up, there's about 1 foot of line there that will break off, and you'll keep your actual fish on the hook. Most of the time, if you're hooking the bottom, it's not going to be that that's hooking, it's the actual hook itself that's hooking into some seaweed. And that's the idea of it. That weight slides up and down and sticks into the sand. Next up, cut yourself off another bit of leader. I'll do about 1.5 feet. I'll try and keep this bit as short as possible, and I'll explain why in a minute. Tie that onto your swivel. At this point, it doesn't matter what end this gets tied onto your swivel. And then you've got the small bit of line there, and that's where you tie your hook onto. All of these knots are uni knots that I use. Sometimes I use a clinch knot or a double blood knot, and that is it. So you've got your hook, bait up the hook, that runs down to your swivel, which is then connected to about 1 meter of line. And on that meter of line is where the running sinker is. And the idea behind this is when you cast out, there's only a little bit of gap there in between the weight and your bait, so it's not too much of that pendulum effect when you flick it out. So that's why I prefer to try and keep this end a lot shorter than your center end. And the idea behind this rig is once you cast it out, that star sinker will sink into the sand, and when the fish picks up the bait, it will start running through until it gets to the end of your line, and then it will sort of hook itself, and then you can start reeling in. I mean, by then you probably already know that there's a fish on, you would have set the hook yourself, but the idea of a running sinker is that the fish doesn't get any resistance until you pull, or when that sinker hits that swivel. And that's it, easy as that. 2 ways to do running sinker. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to sub. I'll see you in the next one.